Hey guys, it's your girl London, and today I'm bringing you a pretty fun video, at least in my opinion. So because we're transitioning from spring to summer, which I know in a lot of places it does not exactly feel that way, like my family in New York, they just had snow flurries last night, and it is May. I know. So there are a lot of places where it doesn't feel like summer is a coming, but let me tell you, summer is a coming. So I wanted to go through my collection and just kind of pull the palettes that embody summer to me. These are palettes that I love the color story, and these are palettes that I really wear throughout the summer. Some are newer to my collection, some are older, some are OG ride or die palettes. I did notice that when I was choosing these, there definitely is a theme to kind of color story that I like for the summer. And I don't think it's going to surprise anybody. And I think as you watch the video, you will kind of pick out the color story theme that I have for palettes specifically for the summertime that I kind of go with. So again, this is just from my collection. This is in no way a cumulative kind of summer palette thing. I don't own every palette in the world. There may be some palettes that I left out because for me they don't embody summer. Either the color story does or vice versa. Maybe the color story doesn't embody summer to somebody else, but for me it does. But this is just from my collection and the palettes that for me say summer and the palettes that I choose to kind of wear during the summer because they just feel very summery to me. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So first palette we have here is from e.l.f. e.l.f. really did their thing with these bite-sized palettes. I know some people thought they were hit or miss, but I feel like, these were, I think I got mine for $3. These were a steal of a deal. And this jalapeno palette, I really just feel like this is a great embodiment of summer to me. This has your yellows, it has your greens, it has, kind of your deeper green mattes, your mid-tone green mattes, and it has a green shimmer and a gold shimmer, which is kind of like a yellowy shimmer. And I think this just goes really well together on its own or being paired with other palettes. I really enjoy greens like this, and I found that probably in the last 2 years or so, I've really gotten into like the green concept for a summertime feel. Previously, I really didn't like greens and blues because I felt like they were very patchy and they just pulled very dark. Like they were more for kind of like a fall thing. But this kind of color story really kind of made me go out of my box and see how kind of relevant they were for the summertime. So I really like this palette and I think that it is super duper cute. The next thing I have is one of my favorite palettes, and this is from Natasha Denona right here, and this is the Mini Retro palette. Now I really think that this is a beautiful palette. This is muted and subdued, but it's just these kind of soft pinks, this kind of, it's almost like a green gray color right here, kind of taupey almost. Also, it's like three things in one. And then this is a kind of silvery, it looks green, but it's really kind of like a silvery-ish green, if you would say. And then a light pink. I really like this because I feel like summertime doesn't necessarily always have to be bright. For me, summertime can be bright and it can be soft, but pink is very indicative of what I like in the summertime. And so I really enjoy this palette year round, but I also really love it for the summertime because I think it's quick, it's easy, it gives you a no fuss, no muss look, and it's just soft and beautiful and kind of embodies that very carefree vibe of summer. So I really like that palette. Another palette I've had for quite some time, and this is a Marc Jacobs. This is the 790 Fantasine palette. One, I loved the fact that they did this one in white. Two, this color story, again, with the kind of pink theme here. I really love that like kind of like soft, pinky, blushy look, and this is a great formula. This is just such a beautiful palette, and then you have this kind of like gold copper right there with the kind of mid-tone chocolate brown matte next to it. This is just such a nice palette. I really feel like this is my favorite Marc Jacobs palette. And that's saying a lot because I really do like Marc Jacobs eyeshadow formula, but I really do enjoy that palette. Another palette that's one of my favorites is from a Too Faced one. Get into this packaging. This was the cutest packaging that they had, and this was the kind of pineapple palette. It was called Sparkling Pineapple. And this was the color story. I love this. Again, kind of the goldies, the greenies, the browns. So you can get a very neutral look, and then it has like just those pops of shimmer, which I think really give you that bronzy, kind of yellowy, goldy type look. I really did like this formula. I did find that the shimmers in this were very soft, so you didn't need to press too hard in them. And I think this is one of the Too Faced palettes that I enjoyed the most of their entire collection, because they just really did a good job on the formula of that. The next palette is Caliente by Artist Couture. Now, this one I had gotten in a BoxyCharm, and I had never tried Artist Couture before, and I really didn't think I was going to be into this palette. As a matter of fact, I think I have a video up where I showed it, and I thought that I was going to get rid of it. Well, I did a look with it, and it was gorgeous. This palette is so beautiful. Artist Couture has some of the best matte shadows I have ever seen. They are just absolutely beautiful. They are soft, but they are not super powdery. They're easy to blend, but they're not overly expensive. I really love it. The color payoff is amazing. They are not shadows that when I put them on are not pigmented. They're very pigmented, which I enjoy because they show up on my skin tone. And although I'm like a medium tan range, I'm not the deepest of complexions. I'm not the fairest of complexions. But I do find a lot of brands like Huda Beauty don't really show up the way that I would like them to. And Artist Couture, I can always count on them to actually show up on my eyelids, and really give me the pigmentation I'm looking for. And so I really enjoy that. It just gives you such a beautiful pinky kind of fiery look, and I really, really like it. Another palette is one of the newest ones in my collection, also by Artist Couture, and this is Ethereal Bloom. This packaging, I wish they would do an entire collection with this packaging because it is absolutely gorgeous. It gives me like all the Cali feels, and I'm here for it. And this color story, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And again, these show up with pigmentation, and I just love this because where the Caliente was very kind of bold and in your face, this is bold yet soft at the same time, and that's why I really like. The colors are very pigmented. They're very kind of pow in your face, but also with these like mints, these softer pinks, it really rounds it out to give itself softer edges, and I really, really like that. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous palette. The next one is an OG, triple OG. This is Too Faced Sweet Peach. Does anybody remember when this launched? I remember when this launched, it was gone in like minutes, and then we had to wait. I mean, it might have been like 9 months. It felt like a long time for the second launch to happen, and then they went into an entire peach collection and kind of just rode it till the wheels fell off. But this is such a beautiful palette. This is getting rickety. It feels like it wants to fall off. But I just really love this color story. This is very kind of almost, you could say neutrally. It has several different shades of browns, your orangey browns, your kind of tea colored browns, your deeper browns, and then it has the pops of greens and pinks, peaches. It's just a very, very nice palette, whether you want to go more kind of super neutral with your browns and things like that, or you want to pop it up a bit with your greens and your pinks. Again, it gives you a nice, soft, easy breezy look. It totally doesn't smell like peaches anymore. It doesn't smell like anything now, which is to be expected because it is quite old, but it still works, and I really, really enjoy that palette. The next palette is from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this is the Carly Bible palette. Now, this caught me off guard. I got it originally for the packaging, I'm not even gonna lie, and although I watched some of Carly's videos, she's not like a constant watch for me, so I didn't have any ties to the palette itself. But this color story really got me. It intrigued me because it seemed like it was hodgepodgey. I didn't quite understand it, but I kind of also wanted it because it looked so different from the other Anastasia palettes. I got it, and this is just such a pretty, pretty palette. Now, to me, the shades are softer, but I think that it gives it a punchy look because of the color story in here, especially these shimmers. They're just quite unique, in my opinion, but also the mattes kind of really ground the look. And so you have a soft yet unique look, and every time I wear this palette, I get nothing but compliments every single time. So I really love that one. The next one is from Dominique Cosmetics, and this is the Lemonade palette. Now, this did have an original launch that had quote-unquote bad palettes, and they refunded everybody who had gotten the palette and or gave you a new palette. This was the original palette. Mine was, there was nothing wrong with it. One, I love the packaging. I mean, if this doesn't say summer, I don't know what does. But this color story inside, absolutely gorgeous. Again, you kind of have that sweet tea brown. You have these beautiful punches of color with the shimmers and purples and pinks and greens, these peachy color. These are all very, very pretty. These mattes right here are so pigmented, and they just really, again, round out the look. I think that this color story couldn't be more perfect. I just really, really like that color story. The next one, although it invokes summer in me, it is a hit or miss as far as my usage. So this is from Jouer, and this is the Tan Lines palette. Again, the packaging, get into it, it's summer. The color story, beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, it's summer. The thing is, the formula with these, especially with the Tide Pool and Tankini and Shore thing, it's these weird kind of, they almost look like sheets of tinfoil. They're slightly odd to work with. I do love the color story. I do love the way that it looks on my eyes and the way that it performs with pictures. But it is a unique formula for some of these shadows, so I tend not to gravitate towards it a ton. But when I do, I get a really nice look. It's just that the color story pulls me, but then I remember how kind of finicky those three shades can be, and it will have me go back a bit. The next one's from Milk Cosmetics, and this is the Millennial Pink palette. I love this palette. I know a lot of people thought it was hit or miss, and that can be the case for Milk, but I really liked it. And again, what I like about it is these pink shades. I think that it gives you such a soft, airy, ethereal summer look, and then you can really ground it with these darker ones here if you want to, or you cannot. But I really just like it. I think that it's fun to do a soft pink look, and then put one of these on the lower lash line and really get, like, amp it up. For an evening look. So I really like that palette a lot. The next one we have is the Latte 2 palette from Dominique Cosmetics. And the packaging looks like it's just going to be a neutral palette. And it is. But then we have these three punchy colors right here. And I have done beautiful looks with this palette all year round. But these three colors right here really ground me for summer. Because again, you can go with a neutral look, or you can kind of do these colors, or you can combine them and again have a very wearable, effortless look that has a little bit of a punch. Now I will say about these three shadows is that although Strawberry Milk is more pigmented than the others, this one, Blonde Roast and Matcha, they're nice. They have pigmentation, but I find you do have to build them up just a bit in order to kind of get somewhere close to the true opacity that he is here in the palette. But I don't mind it because I think that in the end, the result that you get is absolutely beautiful. So I really enjoy that palette too. Now, this was a brand that I had found actually on Instagram, and I took a chance and I ordered from them, and I have not been disappointed. This is from NK Makeup. This is the Oh Honey palette. Okay, this is a yellow palette with this green in the corner. This is such a beautiful, beautiful palette. I think I got this for $3.99. This is an absolutely, absolutely gorgeous palette. I just really, really enjoy it. Yellows you tend to have to build up, but they're very, very pretty when they are on the eye. This green right here, actually I put it on my yellow finger. That was silly. This green right here is very kind of reflective. Really, really nice shadows. And I really ended up falling in love with the brand because I thought the pigmentation was there and the color stories were there. From NK, we also have Under the Sea. And to me, this is just, again, you have these yellows, you have these blues, you have these greens. It just is very, very summery to me. Very much so indicative of some Colourpop palettes and some NYX Cosmetics palettes. But I really like this. Again, this was, I believe, $3.99. The quality, the price were there. And then from NK Makeup, there also is this Lucky Charm palette, which again is this gorgeous greeny, bluey palette. Beautiful. These, if you are looking to kind of try out some new quote-unquote drugstore or affordable brands, try out NK because these are really nice. These are very, very nice, and they're very affordable. So I feel like they lend themselves for people to kind of be able to give them a chance and give them opportunity without being out too much if you find that they're not for you. I also, surprisingly, really enjoyed the Maybelline Lemonade Craze palette. And I have seen this come out again, but in a different configuration, in the longer configuration. I didn't think I was going to enjoy this palette, but I do. Sometimes, drugstore can be hit or miss. And are these the most pigmented shadows? No, they're not. You do have to build them up quite a bit, which is not surprising for drugstore. But I do think that all in all, the colors look very pretty on the eyes, but you do have to give it some time to build up. You probably do want to put down a white base or a more light opaque base, but I really do enjoy this palette, and I like it also because it's a drugstore palette, and I don't tend to love a ton of drugstore palettes, that actually performed very well. The next one's from Tarte, and this is the BU palette from Sugar Rush. So this is from their kind of, I don't want to say teeny bopper line, but their line that is more catered to a younger age population. I love this. I love the honeycomb prints. I love the bee emblems. I got this at Ulta. I happened to be walking by it, and it was actually the look of the palette that got me. But when I got it home, this performs so freaking fantastically. I love the color story. Again, it leans very neutral, but you also have these pops, and it just reminds me of a easy breezy look. And I use this year round, but it really just invokes summer in me when I see it. And I think that the bees, don't hurt it any. The next one's from Natasha Denona, and this is the bronze palette. So, I mean, come on now. This gives you your bronze goddess look like no other. Natasha does shadows, and she does them well. And this is an amazing, amazing palette to have from Natasha Denona. If you're somebody who loves neutrals, loves a bronze look, this is a year-round palette. But in summertime, you get your bronzer going, oh my gosh, and you get this eyeshadow look going, you are in there like swimmer. It is just so beautiful. I just absolutely love it. The next one is more of a fun palette where I don't utilize it on its own, but I do use it for pops of color, lower lash line, things like that. And this is the Sugar Crystals palette from Violet Voss. Let's just get into that again. Packaging, summertime. Then the inside, to me, this is a rainbow-esque palette done different and done well. So you have rainbow and then almost kind of like pastel colors. You have these like crystal toppers, but you also have these mattes. This is a very fun palette. And like I said, I do use this in combination with other palettes, and I really do like it. I think that it adds a bit of pizzazz to any look, and it really just makes me happy and makes me think of summer. We're getting down to the end, guys, so if you've stuck out this far, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Next palette, Colourpop. Big Poppy. When I saw this, I was like, meh, what's so different about it? It looks neutral. This is such a pretty palette. Although it is neutral, it really, again, we're going with those kind of tea looks. So the brown teas, the kind of orangey brown teas. It doesn't look like it's variety and a variation, but it really, really is. This is an all matte palette. This looks very, very pretty on the eyes, and it's also nice if you want to do like a little gold shimmer or a little bronze shimmer. This is beautiful. Or if you want to just do an all matte look, this is a really, really nice palette that gives you a summer feel without doing too much. I just really love these peachy, orangey, brown motifs that it has going on. So this is a very pretty palette, and I really like it. Next from Colourpop is the Coast to Coral palette. This, again, it's giving you life with the pinky corals, and I just don't know what else screams summer than these colors. I think that they're very pretty, and I think one thing Colourpop does really well is creating color stories and doing shimmers. Their shimmers are very, very beautiful, and I really do enjoy this palette. The next one was from Colourpop, and this is A Little Ray of Sunshine. Again, with this one, I was a little skeptical because one, it was all matte, and two, it was all matte with a lot of yellows. And yellows, especially on somebody who has pigmentation, tend to really not show up, and they are just very dull. However, I mean, look at that. That is the color Sunshine, or Sunnies, I'm sorry. And then we'll go for this kind of more mustardy color right here, which is the color Vibey. So these are really, really nice colors. And once I saw that, the palette just came to life for me. Because what I didn't want was kind of a chalky mess of yellow shades that didn't really work for my complexion, which is what I usually end up getting with palettes that are yellow or yellow base, and that really surprised me, because even in Colourpop's line, I've had that experience, so I was really excited about that. The next one is an older palette from Colourpop, and this is the Mar palette. This is gorgeous because this is the most perfect layout of blues, greens, and browns that I've ever seen. This is Natasha known as a bronze palette. This is if you want the bronze look, but then you also want those pops of turquoises. This is perfect. This is the palette that you need. And I think this paired with the bronze palette, absolutely beautiful. But this is gorgeous. I'm so glad I have this. I really wish that they would bring this back because it is just an absolutely beautiful, beautiful palette. Like I said, if you don't have the Natasha Denona bronze palette, if it's a little too expensive, if you can find the Mar palette, I think that it gives you a nice comparable to it. Next is Colourpop's Honey. And this is a yellow palette, and this is what this looks like inside. I had my little cover in there. This is nice because this is Sweet Spot. This is, again, is a yellow that actually works. This is Oh Behave. And again, this is a yellow that actually works. And then let's do, this is Dandy. Again, that is a shimmer. So these yellows actually work in this palette, and that's what I was worried about, because again, with the yellows, sometimes there's no pigmentation, sometimes it falls really flat. And I do find you still need to build them up. You don't want to blend them out too much, because on pigmented skin, they will kind of blend out into a little bit of a lighter look and almost like a wash. But if you want the punches, pack it on, and they are absolutely beautiful. Really enjoy that palette. Here is a true OG from Colourpop. This is the Cute AF. I remember when this came out, we didn't know if it was the Yes Please or the Cute AF palette, because it says Cute AF here, Yes Please here. It actually was the Yes Please palette, and it was odd that they did two of the names, but this was the palette that kind of started the craze for this color story. This has your beautiful, again, kind of those tea browns, some of the oranges, some of the red and burgundies. This really set the makeup world on fire when they came out with this, where Natasha Denona was copying it, Tarte was copying it, every brand was copying this, and this was just absolutely beautiful. Really enjoyed this palette. Doesn't smell weird, still works, and the last time I was on the website, they actually still had it in stock. They brought it back, so if you can get it, I think that it definitely is a good palette to have. Next is Colourpop's Wild Thing palette, a Wild Nothing palette. A lot of people didn't like this because they felt like it was too soft. But as you can see with a lot of the palettes that I have chosen, oh, I've got yellow all over this, that remind me of summer. This is a very soft palette. This definitely reminds me of being like in the desert, in Sedona, with the wind blowing through your hair, in Idaho with wheat fields. It just reminds me of a very calm day with a very soft look with like a peasant sundress on. I really, really, really like this palette, but I do understand that for most people, this is like too light of a look. It just isn't punchy enough. It does, you know, lend itself to run into some problems if you have more of a melanated skin tone. But I think overall, I really like this kind of soft motif that it is giving me. Because I tend to really enjoy a softer look. The next palette is the California Love palette from Colourpop. I'm from Cali. Absolutely love it. And again, we're working with these warm bronze tones in here. So this is very reminiscent of the Poppy palette. This is very reminiscent of the Mars or the Mar palette. And this is very reminiscent of the Natasha Denona bronze palette. So I really do like this palette. If you don't have any of those and you can find California Love, this does a nice job of that kind of bronzy summer look too, and I always get beautiful looks with that one. My favorite palette probably in my entire collection, and my favorite palette for the summer, is also from Colourpop, and this is the Sweet Talk palette. One, I will never get over this packaging. I just love the artistic route they went with this. It was just so beautiful. I have this on my eyes today, so get into the look. And this again is that pinky kind of tea brown look. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous palette. Of all the Colourpop palettes, if I were ever to tell somebody to get one, it would be the Sweet Talk palette, because I just love the formulas that are in here. I think this is one of the first palettes they put the Super Shock formula into a palette instead of the little pods. But this is just such a nice color story. It's soft, yet it's vibrant. It's wearable, yet it's punchy. It's summer, yet it's fun. So I really, really like this palette a lot. And like I said, in my entire collection, that actually might be my favorite palette in my entire makeup collection of over 400 shadow palettes. But definitely for the summer, that is my favorite, favorite, favorite go-to palette for the summer, because it's so easy breezy, but you still get a beautiful punchy look from it. So absolutely love it. So guys, long video. Thanks for sticking around, but those are my top summer palettes that I have in my collection. If you guys have any of them, let me know in the comment section what you think about them. If you don't have some of them, let me know if you'd like to get them, if you wanted to get them, and unfortunately it passed you by. If you have something that's similar, kind of let me know. If you have them and you don't like them, let me know down below too. Let's just have a conversation. If you have some other palettes that I did not showcase today that are your favorite summer palettes, let me know in the comment section down below too, because I'm always looking to get into some new palettes. So if you enjoyed this video, please give me two, not one, but two very enthusiastic thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be notified of all my new videos. If you haven't already, head on over to Instagram. Follow me at Linda Brielle so you can see what I'm doing when I'm not here with you on the YouTubes. And guys, until next time, I love you, I miss you, and I will see you on the flip side. I love you guys. Bye.